Have you ever had that feeling like you find yourself doing all the supposedly right things, relentlessly climbing the career ladder, making good money, hitting those life milestones everyone says are essential, but there's still this quiet, nagging feeling inside, a kind of emptiness maybe, or just a sense that something fundamental is, well, missing.
That's such a common feeling, that disconnect between what looks like success on the outside and how you actually feel inside.
Exactly. And that's precisely where our deep dive kicks off today. We're diving into the world of Julian Mantle. He's the high-powered lawyer at the heart of this modern fable we're exploring. I mean, by all conventional standards, Julian was living the dream, right?
Absolutely. The definition of success.
Yeah, the expensive suits, custom-tailored, the huge house in a fancy neighborhood, and of course, that famous gleaming red Ferrari. It was all there.
The whole package.
But underneath all that polish, all that achievement, he was apparently deeply, profoundly unfulfilled, just caught in this exhausting cycle.
Pouring all his energy outward.
Right. Chasing external validation, but feeling more and more hollowed out, totally drained emotionally.
That's a classic trap, really.
And the moment it all came crashing down wasn't some gentle realization over time. It was dramatic.
Yeah.
Visceral.
Yeah, the heart attack.
A sudden, massive heart attack right there in the middle of a packed courtroom. Just collapsed.
Can you imagine?
It's terrifying.
Okay.
But that collapse, it wasn't the end. It was his wake-up call. Like a demand from his own body saying, stop, look at your life, reevaluate everything.
His priorities, how he defined success, his whole existence.
Yeah.
Suddenly up for grabs.
Okay, so let's unpack this story properly, because it's not just about one lawyer's crisis. This narrative, it really flips the script on what success actually means, doesn't it?
Completely. It forces you to look past the shiny surface.
Yeah, and dig deep into what genuinely nourishes us, like, at our core.
And what's so compelling about Julian's story is exactly that transition, how this moment of absolute crisis, this physical collapse, how it became the catalyst for such a profound transformation. His journey, from burnout back towards, towards a totally new definition of fulfillment. It's powerful.
It really is.
It shows how sometimes the worst events can actually force us to face our truths, shed what doesn't work, and find a path to genuine well-being, not just perceived success.
It's that idea that true success might not be about getting more, but maybe having the courage to let go.
Exactly. Letting go and redefining what truly matters.
And boy, did he let go. After that heart attack, Julian Mantle, he didn't just, take a few months off or switch to a less stressful legal niche.
No, it's much more radical than that.
Way more radical. He disappeared, like vanished.
Just gone.
Walked away from the high-stress legal career, sold off all his material possessions.
Including the Ferrari, the symbol.
The big symbol, yeah. Sold it all and just left. A complete break from the life he'd built. The life that almost killed him, ironically.
It's quite a statement.
And then months later, he reappears. But the Julian Mantle who comes back, almost unrecognizable.
A total change.
It wasn't just physical, though apparently he looked healthier, younger even. It was his whole aura. Different.
That inner shift manifesting outwardly.
Yeah. He wasn't in a sharp suit anymore. He was wearing these simple flowing robes and the stressed lines on his face. Gone. Replaced by this serene smile. He just radiated this inner peace. You could apparently feel it.
A visible transformation. It underscores the depth of the journey he must have undertaken.
Absolutely.
The way Robin Sharma tells the story is really effective, the narrative device he uses.
You mean how Julian shares the wisdom?
Exactly. He doesn't just come back and write a textbook or give lectures.
Yeah, it's more personal.
Much more. The book describes it as a soul-to-soul download of wisdom. He shares it all with his former colleague, his friend.
Right, John.
And that intimate exchange makes the insights feel less like abstract advice and more like a shared lived experience.
It makes it relatable, even though his journey was so extreme.
Precisely. It feels earned, authentic. And because we learn through the colleague's perspective, it feels immediately actionable for the reader, for you listening.
So, where did he go? Where did Julian find this life-changing wisdom?
He travels to the Himalayas.
The Himalayas, okay. Classic wisdom destination.
Right. A place revered for spiritual insight. And it's there, among the mountains, that he finds and studies with this mystical, quite secluded group called the Sages of Savannah.
The Sages of Savannah? Sounds pretty mysterious.
It does. And they're presented as these custodians of timeless principles, keepers of an ancient tradition, focused on living a more meaningful, joyful, enlightened life.
So not just practical tips, but a deeper philosophy.
Exactly. The setting itself signals this isn't just about minor tweaks. It's about a fundamental shift in how you see the world and your place in it.
It's interesting, though, isn't it, using this sort of distant, mystical setting?
It is, but I think it works as a powerful metaphor. The Himalayas, the sages, they represent this universal human search for wisdom.
Something beyond the everyday grind.
Yes. And their teachings, as the book presents them, aren't really about obscure rituals. They're distillations of fundamental truths for living well.
Truths that apply anywhere.
That's the idea. Principles that transcend culture, time, circumstances. They tap into something deep in us that search for genuine well-being, inner peace, purpose. Stuff that goes way beyond just ticking boxes or accumulating things.
It suggests the answers might be closer than we think, just maybe hidden in plain sight.
Perhaps rediscovered in timeless wisdom.
So at its heart, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari is about this journey.
A specific kind of journey.
From that superficial external success, the stuff that gets applause but can leave you feeling hollow.
Right.
Of a deep internal fulfillment. It's not just changing habits. It's shifting your whole perspective, recalibrating your values.
It's about reconnecting with your authentic self.
Finding your purpose.
Rediscovering it, maybe?
Yeah, and then crucially, living intentionally, moment by moment, with awareness.
That intentionality is key.
And here's the thing that really struck me, and why I think it connects with so many people, including you listening right now. This isn't some abstract philosophy just for monks meditating on mountaintops.
No, definitely not.
These principles are profoundly, immediately applicable to us. To people juggling demanding jobs, dealing with the stress of modern life, the constant digital noise.
The endless phone buzzes.
Exactly. It's about taking these ancient, resonant truths and integrating them into our very busy, often chaotic modern lives.
Proving you don't need to literally sell your car to find some peace.
Right. It's an internal shift.
Yeah. And if you connect this to the bigger picture, Julian's journey really highlights that universal search for meaning beyond just material stuff. That search resonates so deeply today in our often overwhelmed world where external pressures dictate so much.
Our pace, our priorities, even our self-worth sometimes.
Exactly. The book compellingly argues that real wealth isn't what you own, but the quality of your inner life.
Yeah, relationships, your contribution.
Yes. It suggests that maybe the solutions to our modern anxieties lie in this timeless wisdom, just adapted for today.
Okay, so let's get into the really practical stuff. The core teachings Julian brought back from the sages of Savannah.
The 7 virtues.
Right, the 7 virtues of enlightened living. And the way Sharma presents them is quite clever, using these memorable metaphors for each one.
Makes them stick.
It really does. It's a brilliant way to convey these big ideas without making them feel heavy or, too academic.
It bypasses just the intellect and hits you more intuitively.
This is where it gets really interesting, I think. Because they're not just abstract concepts you read and forget. They're wrapped in this vivid imagery, like mental anchors.
Anchors for profound concepts. It's a timeless teaching method using parables and metaphors. They engage you more deeply.
Makes them more actionable, too.
Definitely. Each virtue becomes a living principle embodied by an image. It's impactful.
All right, so let's start with the first one. Virtue number 1 is beautifully simple, but wow, it's profound. The garden master your mind.
The garden.
Yes. The core metaphor is your mind is a garden. Just picture that. If you neglect a garden, what happens?
Weeds take over.
Exactly. Weeds sprout up everywhere, those negative thoughts, the fears, the self-doubts. And if you let them, they just choke out everything good.
But the flip side.
But if you tend that garden,
Yeah.
if you're diligent, consistent, if you actively plant and nurture beautiful flowers, gratitude, focus, optimism,
Then your whole internal landscape transforms.
it blossoms. And that reflects outward into your life. It's all about that conscious inner cultivation.
It really shifts responsibility, doesn't it? You're the gardener.
Totally. And what really hit me from Julian's description of the sages' teachings was their emphasis on guarding your thoughts.
Like a fortress.
Yeah, treat your mind like a fortress, because they understood how easily just one negative thought can sneak in, take root, and then spiral.
Infecting everything.
Right. And to fight this, they taught Julian this technique called opposition thinking.
Opposition thinking.
Okay. It's basically a disciplined practice. You actively, intentionally replace every single negative thought with a positive, constructive one.
It sounds simple, but
It takes effort. It's a conscious, ongoing effort. But the promise is this profound shift in your mental resilience over time.
it's like cognitive restructuring, really.
Now think about this for yourself listening. In our world, we're constantly bombarded. News, social media, emails, endless input.
Information overload is real.
So this virtue makes you ask, what are you actually planting in your mental garden every day? Are you consciously cultivating positivity and growth?
Or just passively letting the weeds of external noise, comparison, and negativity take over? It's a crucial question. It really is, especially now.
Yeah.
How critical is it to consciously curate our internal landscape? The mind as garden isn't just poetry, it's basic psychology.
Our thoughts shape our reality.
Literally, they shape our emotional experience, and that opposition thinking technique, it actually mirrors principles in cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT.
Oh, interesting. How so?
Well, CBT involves actively challenging and reframing negative thought patterns. And over time, that can literally rewire neural pathways in the brain.
So it's not just wishful thinking.
Not at all. It's about building mental muscle, making positivity and constructive thinking your default mode, not just something you force occasionally. It's training your internal dialogue.
Wow. Okay, powerful start. Let's move to the second virtue. The lighthouse. Follow your purpose.
The lighthouse, another strong image.
Incredibly evocative. It symbolizes direction, clarity, having that powerful purpose.
Your why.
Your why, exactly. Your reason to get up in the morning. A guiding light that cuts through the fog of confusion or distraction.
And the sages emphasize the urgency of defining this purpose.
Urgency, yes. Clearly defining your goals. And this is key, physically writing them down. Not just vague wishes, but concrete statements.
Making it tangible.
And they made this vital distinction, too. It's not just about career goals.
Which is often where we stop.
Right. It's about broader life goals. Emotional well-being, spiritual growth, relationships, contribution. The whole picture.
A holistic view of purpose.
Yeah. And Julian learned this exercise, the 10 goals for life.
Okay.
You write down 10 true desires, things that really resonate deep down, and then significantly you revisit that list every single day.
Every day. Why?
To reinforce their importance, keep them top of mind, embed them in your subconscious. It keeps you aligned.
Constant reinforcement.
This part really made me pause. I mean, how many of us actually take the time to define what we really want beyond what society tells us we should want?
It's easy to just react to life.
So easy. Chasing the next deadline, drifting along. This virtue asks us, are we actively designing our lives? Or are we letting life just happen to us?
That's a confronting question.
It is, but it holds the key to real intention, real direction.
And that emphasis on clarity is striking. A vague desire like, I want to be happy, is really hard to act on.
Too fuzzy.
Exactly. But a clearly articulated purpose, a defined set of goals that acts like the lighthouse beam. It gives you direction, stops you from being tossed around by every whim or external demand.
It keeps you steady.
Right. And revisiting them daily. That's not just rote repetition. It's a powerful reinforcement technique.
How so? Psychologically?
Well, it imprints those goals deeper. It reinforces your commitment. And some theories suggest it helps activate the brain's reticular activating system, basically, tuning your brain to notice opportunities related to your goals.
Like programming your focus.
In a way, yes. It builds momentum and keeps you pointing towards your true north.
Okay, next up. Virtue number 3. This one has a memorable, maybe slightly unexpected metaphor.
Oh, yes.
The sumo wrestler practice Kaizen.
The sumo wrestler always gets a reaction.
It does. But it's not just about size or strength here. It's a symbol of consistent, disciplined growth, unwavering effort.
And it introduces Kaizen.
Yes, the Japanese philosophy of Kaizen. Constant, never-ending improvement.
Continuous improvement.
The core idea is that even tiny, consistent steps taken day after day after day, they add up. They compound into massive, transformative change over time.
The power of the compound effect in personal growth.
Exactly. And Julian's examples from the sages really bring this down to earth.
Like what?
Well, they stressed consistent discipline in daily routines, pushing your limits, but incrementally, like waking up just a little bit earlier each day.
Small steps.
Or committing to read for just 30 minutes daily. Or doing specific deep breathing exercises, seemingly small things.
But done consistently.
They build into profound self-mastery and significant life changes. It's not about huge, overwhelming leaps. It's steady, deliberate progress.
That's a key takeaway for me, and I think for anyone listening. It's not about perfectionism.
No, forget perfection.
It's about getting just 1% better each day. Think about the cumulative power of that over a year or 5 years.
It's huge. It shifts the focus from these grand, often intimidating gestures to quiet, persistent progress that builds real momentum.
And it liberates you from that pressure to be perfect now. Embracing consistent effort over waiting for the perfect moment or motivation. Connecting this to the bigger picture, Kaizen is all about sustained effort, not just those bursts of motivation that fizzle out.
Right, this is a long game.
It underscores that growth is a process, a journey, not some final destination you arrive at. It champions resilience,
Yeah.
patience, and the understanding that big changes often come from small, continuous adjustments. It links to that idea of marginal gains you see in sports and business.
Tiny improvements everywhere add up.
Exactly. It's a powerful antidote to the all-or-nothing mindset that trips so many people up. Every small step counts.
Love that. Okay, virtue number 4 builds perfectly on this.
Yeah.
The pink wire cable live with discipline.
The pink wire cable. Another striking image.
The sumo wrestler was apparently wearing this pink wire cable. It's kind of strange visually.
Unexpected, yeah, but meaningful.
Totally. The cable represents willpower, self-discipline.
Yeah.
And the analogy is brilliant.
How does it work?
Like a wire cable. You know how individual strands might be weak, but when you twist many strands together, the cable becomes incredibly strong.
Strength in numbers.
Exactly. In the same way, our habits, our character, our resolve, they get stronger through consistent repetition. Each disciplined act adds another strand to that powerful inner cable.
Making you more resilient.
Yes. And Julian really embraced what the sages called rituals of radiant living.
Rituals of radiant living. Okay.
These are consistent, non-negotiable daily routines, things you do deliberately to build mental toughness and inner peace.
Like morning meditation.
Yeah, or journaling, dedicated reading time, structured exercise, things you commit to. They aren't just activities, they're acts of self-mastery.
Building that willpower muscle.
Right. And when you do them consistently, they reinforce your willpower and create this strong, supportive structure for your whole day. They become the bedrock.
That foundation is crucial.
Now, here's a thought that really challenges how most of us operate. It's tough, maybe. We often wait for motivation, right? We wait to feel like doing something before we act.
Waiting for inspiration to strike.
Yeah. But Julian's journey and this virtue reveal something counterintuitive. Discipline shows up even when motivation is nowhere to be found.
That's a big one.
It's the consistent action, regardless of how you feel, that truly builds that muscle of willpower. It's tough, I know I struggle with it, but it's where the real breakthroughs happen.
When you push past feelings and just do.
Exactly.
And this raises a really important point about habit formation and, human agency. Discipline. It's often seen as restrictive, like it limits freedom.
Yeah, like it's punishment.
Right. But the book argues the opposite. It's about finding freedom through structure.
How does that work?
Well, when you establish these daily rituals, these positive routines like Julian's morning practices, they become more automatic. You bypass decision fatigue.
The exhaustion of constantly deciding what to do next.
Exactly. That drains your limited willpower. So by automating the important basics, you free up mental energy for the harder choices, the creative work.
The routines become the launch pad.
Precisely. They create this reliable foundation. It's like the silent scaffolding that supports sustainable growth and allows you to pursue more meaningful things without constantly fighting yourself just to get started.
That makes so much sense. Okay, virtue number 5. This one is critical, especially today. The gold stopwatch. Respect your time.
Time, our most finite resource.
The gold stopwatch symbolizes time, hammering home that it is, without a doubt, your most precious resource, more valuable than money, even more than attention sometimes.
Because you can't get it back.
Never. Julian learned this stark truth from the sages. Time is like gold. Every single minute wasted is gone forever. Irrevocable.
It's not just about being efficient, is it?
No, it's deeper. It's about recognizing the finite, non-renewable nature of time and treating it with the reverence it deserves, taking ownership.
So what was the practical advice?
Really concrete stuff. Waking up early to get a head start. Actively blocking out distractions, a huge one for us now.
The notification battle.
Totally. And meticulously scheduling your day as if every hour genuinely matters. Because it does.
Taking proactive control instead of letting the day just happen to you.
Right. And this one hit home for me hard. I bet it does for you listening too. We've all done it.
The mindless scrolling.
Oh, yeah. Scrolling, binge watching, just checking something online. And suddenly, whoosh, 2 hours have vanished. Gone.
Into the digital void, never to return.
And Julian's warning from the book is so direct, it's almost an ultimatum. Either you run your day or your day runs you.
Stark. but true.
It's a powerful challenge for all of us to reclaim control of this irreplaceable asset.
And it's fascinating how this virtue places such an absolute value on time in a world constantly clawing for our attention.
Notifications, emails, demands.
Mindful time management becomes more than just a productivity technique. It's an act of self-preservation.
Protecting your focus.
And living intentionally. Setting boundaries not just with others, but with our own impulses and distractions.
That's the harder part sometimes.
It is. But strategies like conscious scheduling, maybe digital detoxes, prioritizing tasks based on real values, they aren't about being rigid.
They're about alignment.
Exactly. Ensuring our precious moments are spent on what genuinely contributes to our purpose and well-being, not squandered on the trivial or the urgent, but unimportant. It turns time from something that slips away into a tool for building the life you want.
Powerful. Okay, virtue number 6 offers a beautiful shift in focus outwards. The fragrant roses serve others.
Fragrant roses. Lovely metaphor.
It represents kindness, compassion, and this profound truth that a truly meaningful life, lasting joy, it extends beyond just self-improvement.
It involves contribution.
Actively serving others.
Yeah.
Recognizing we're all connected and finding purpose in contributing to the well-being of the world around us.
And the examples Julian gives aren't necessarily huge, heroic things.
No, and that's important. They're often simple, everyday gestures, but deeply impactful. Helping a friend who's struggling.
Taking time to mentor someone.
Or just being fully present, really listening without judgment when someone needs to talk. The key is giving just for the joy of it, without expecting anything back.
Pure giving.
And what I loved here was this quote from Julian. It sounds almost paradoxical. When you work to improve the lives of others, your own life elevates automatically.
That resonates.
It's a beautiful truth. It defies that purely self-interested logic.
And it challenges you, the listener, to think about how acts of contribution might bring a deeper joy than just focusing on yourself.
Think about that feeling you get when you genuinely help someone, maybe even a stranger, with no strings attached.
That warmth, that connection.
That quiet sense of purpose, it's undeniable. It really shows how giving can be so much more rewarding than just receiving. It taps into something fundamental.
And connecting this to psychology, it absolutely taps into fundamental human needs. Connection, belonging, contribution.
It's wired into us.
Very much so. Positive psychology research consistently shows that altruism and generosity are powerful drivers of well-being.
Oh, so?
They reduce stress, improve mood. They could even trigger the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone.
Oh, the helper's high.
Exactly. It's not just a nice feeling, it's a measurable physiological response. It underlines why serving others elevates our own lives.
So it's finding purpose in generosity.
Yes, and acknowledging that our individual flourishing is tied to the flourishing of others. A life only for oneself often feels incomplete, but a life that includes service can be incredibly enriching.
Deeply meaningful. Okay, finally, virtue number 7. And this might be the most challenging for many of us today. The path of diamonds embrace the present.
The path of diamonds, living in the now.
The diamond path symbolizes living fully, consciously right now, recognizing that true peace, true joy, it only exists in the present moment.
Which is counter to how we often operate.
Totally. We have this tendency to be stuck somewhere else, either dwelling on the past, regrets, mistakes, what ifs.
Or constantly racing into the future, anxieties, plans, worries, the next thing.
We live anywhere but here.
And Julian learned practices like meditation and mindfulness from the sages.
Yes, and crucially, it wasn't presented as some trendy fad. It was a daily necessity, a fundamental tool for anchoring yourself in the present.
The only place life is actually happening.
Exactly. The sages taught him that only by cultivating this presence could he truly experience life's richness, escape the mental traps of past and future, and find genuine peace, even amidst chaos.
Training the mind to be where the body is.
Think about it yourself right now. How much of your day are you genuinely present? How often are you maybe having dinner with family but mentally replaying a work meeting? Or planning tomorrow's commute? Or worrying about next week?
Guilty as charged sometimes.
We all are. And the profound insight Julian gained, the one the book really hammers home, is if you're always chasing the next thing, you'll miss the beauty of this moment.
The small wonders. The quiet joys.
The simple act of being alive. It's all happening now, but we need to be present to actually notice and appreciate it.
And this really challenges our whole notion of happiness, doesn't it?
How do you mean?
We often treat happiness as a future destination. I'll be happy when I get the promotion, buy the house, Finish this project.
Always when.
Right. This virtue says happiness isn't out there somewhere in the future. It's about discovering the richness available right now in this moment.
Through practices like mindfulness.
Exactly. By training ourselves to be present, we appreciate life more deeply as it unfolds. We reduce anxiety and regret. We foster this accessible sense of inner peace.
It's about savoring the journey, not just obsessing over the destination.
And understanding contentment is an internal state, available now.
Okay, so let's try and pull all this incredible wisdom together, these 7 virtues Julian brought back. Let's recap the core message of each.
Good idea. Synthesize it.
First, the garden. Guard your thoughts. Cultivate positivity.
Master your mind.
Second, the lighthouse. Get crystal clear on your life's purpose. Write it down. Revisit it daily.
Follow your purpose.
Third, the sumo wrestler. Improve yourself every single day. Kaizen. Small steps, big results.
Practice Kaizen.
Fourth, the pink wire cable. Discipline is your superpower. Build powerful, consistent routines.
Live with discipline.
Fifth, the gold stopwatch. Protect your time fiercely. It's your most precious, non-renewable asset.
Respect your time.
Sixth, the fragrant roses. Serve others with kindness and love. Contribution brings fulfillment.
Serve others selflessly.
And finally, 7th, the path of diamonds. Live fully in the now. Embrace the present moment.
Embrace the present. It's all we have.
These 7, they really cover a lot of ground.
They do. And importantly, they aren't just 7 separate rules. They're interconnected. They form a holistic system.
How so?
Well, working on one often strengthens others. Like having a clear purpose, lighthouse, gives you the drive for self-improvement, sumo wrestle.
Which requires discipline, pink wire cable.
Exactly. And that discipline helps you master your mind, garden, and use your time well, stopwatch.
Which creates space to serve others, roses, and be present, diamonds.
It's a positive feedback loop, a framework for transformation.
Now, we need to make a crucial clarification here, because the title, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari, it's evocative, but maybe misleading if you take it literally.
Important point.
The book is absolutely not saying you need to literally sell everything, quit your job, move to the mountains.
It's not advocating becoming a literal monk or hermit.
Right.
Or saying material success is bad.
Right. So if Julian's extreme journey isn't a direct command, what does it all mean for us? It's not about literal renunciation, is it?
No, precisely. And what's fascinating is how the book uses Julian's extreme story.
Yeah.
It uses it to highlight these universal principles. Principles that can be applied effectively within any life context. Yours, mine, anyone's.
So the Ferrari, the Himalayas,
Yeah.
they're symbols.
Powerful metaphors, yes.
Yes.
They represent an internal shift, a deep reevaluation of your values, your priorities, what truly brings you contentment.
Internal liberation, not external escape.
Exactly. Freeing yourself from the mental chains, materialism, societal pressure, unexamined habits that hold you back. It's about finding a monastic mindset, that inner peace, purpose, discipline within your current life.
Bringing the wisdom into your world, not running away from it.
You got it.
Which brings us right back to where we started, really. Back to that core challenge the book throws down.
The provocative questions.
Yes. It asks you, listening right now, to just pause. Pause the busyness for a moment and ask yourself some deep, maybe uncomfortable questions.
Like,
What am I really chasing? Am I just running on a treadmill of external achievements that maybe don't even resonate with my soul, even if they look good? And maybe the biggest one, what does success truly mean to me? Not to society, not to Instagram, not to anyone else, but authentically, deeply to me.
only you can answer that.
Let's think about that Ferrari again for a second, because the book's view is actually quite nuanced. It's not anti-success or anti-ambition.
It's not saying the Ferrari itself is the problem.
Yeah, right. As the book subtly puts it. Because maybe the Ferrari isn't the problem. Maybe it's what you gave up to get it.
Oh, the cost.
The cost.
Yeah.
That's it. The often unseen sacrifices. To your well-being, your inner peace, your relationships, your sense of purpose. The things you might trade away in the relentless pursuit of external validation without even realizing it.
It's a call for conscious alignment.
Between your efforts and your deepest values.
And that really leads to the ultimate question the book leaves us with, doesn't it? Are
Yeah.
we defining our success by those external metrics, the job title, the bank balance, the possessions, or are we measuring it by the richness, the fulfillment, the quality of our internal experience? The book urges us to align our outward actions, our daily choices, the direction of our lives with our deepest inward values.
True success being that alignment.
Yes. It suggests Real, lasting success isn't just hitting goals, but it's about the quality of the journey, the integrity of our intentions, the positive impact we have. It's a call to conscious, intentional living every single day.
So here's a final thought for you to take away, something to mull over. Building on all this, consider this. If your personal Ferrari, whatever that represents for you, your highest aspirations, your biggest dreams, are you driving it towards genuine fulfillment, towards a life of meaning and inner peace? Or is the driving itself just more chasing? More external validation, leading perhaps back to that feeling of emptiness?
Are you building a life of deep meaning or just accumulating more stuff?
It's a powerful question to sit with. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive into the monk who sold his Ferrari. We really hope this exploration has sparked something for you, given you some valuable food for thought.
Keep exploring, keep questioning.
Absolutely. Keep growing, and remember that the best investment you can ever make truly is in yourself, and you can start today.